Evening, everybody. How we doing? How we doing? Gonna try to do this really quick because it is late. It is midnight, and I should be sleeping now. But personal reasons, only getting to this video and not just now. And I feel like it'll be quicker if I do it like this rather than going through the recording and then editing it. I'll show you the executions through the recording, but yeah, I'll just try to be quick with this. So basically, 3 trades today, 2 losers, 1 banger trade. Um, and yeah, to start off is my context, right? So, previous day's race stat is bullish, but it doesn't look like a clear bull leg on the daily. So, if we just go to the daily chart, right? Obviously, we know this is a Thursday candle, so we know it closed bearish, but the stat was bullish because we broke the high. Once they broke the Tuesday's high, but it's not a clear bull leg. It's actually a bear leg on the daily, or at least that's what it looks like, right? So you could see this as a bear leg as well on the 4 hour, the 1 hour, right? So it's looking a bit bearish, blah blah blah. Anyways, and then the true day open stat is technically bullish, so it is above us, and then didn't get traded through in London. So it looks like it did, but when I say that, it's referring to a stat that's based on 3 a.m. to 11 a.m. So I can actually show you really quick if I find the stat. The stat is, let me see, I think it's this one. Yeah, so it's this stat right here. This is a stat that basically says, okay, um, the session goes from 3 a.m. to 11 a.m. So if it hasn't gotten traded from 3 a.m. till pre-market, you'd expect it to get traded too, because there's like an 80 pretty high percent chance if it doesn't get traded through in London. If it does, it's a bit lower, but it's still a possibility. So if the context is there, the stat is pretty strong. But yeah, ended up not trading towards it, and it happens, right? There's days where a stat doesn't hold, and it's just a statistic. Just because the stat is strong doesn't mean it's guaranteed, right? But anyways, yeah, that was that, and then I said, yeah, strong bear leg. At least that's what it looks like. And then since London till right before market open, so if we go to the 5 minute, say to, this is still here. Okay, yeah, this is actually perfect. From London high, right? So London high here to all the way down here, we've been dumped 200 points, right? So we're down pretty significantly from London high, and you could see we actually traded it into a 4 hour, right? And we're trading towards these lows, right? From this 4 hour. It's also an hourly, right? So this hourly gap. Yeah, I feel like I was bullish initially. And then like I had a bit of a bullish bias, and then seeing how we opened, I was like, yeah, we're not. We're probably gonna be bearish. But yeah, so price respected a 4 hour FEG, and it's now sitting inside a support zone. So I had a support zone marked out. I ended up deleting it because it didn't hold that much relevance. I decided to focus on the draws and liquidity that I had marked out. And yeah, I'll just fast forward to, oh, that's not what I meant to do. Oh, well, this is actually pretty good. But after seeing this dump, I'm like, okay, we're well below overnight VWAP. We're just heading towards that new week opening gap, right? And I saw this as the gap needs to get filled here. So like here, right? So we didn't technically reach it, but if you consider the original gap, then we did. So I wanted to target this wick inside of that new week opening gap. I wanted to see that get traded towards. Because this gap over here, right, formed it, immediately trade towards that midpoint, and then respect that. So I wanted to see it fully fill, especially since we're adding bearish context to this. Jeez, that's just okay. There we go. Okay, so I initially noticed we got above previous week's POC. Obviously, got above it and then failed for the third time because previous week's POC, we got above it once, failed, got above it another time, failed, got above it for the third time, and then failed one more time today. Okay? Well, yesterday actually. Technically, now it's Friday. Sorry, but yeah, failing at the POC from all-time high to current price. Currently trading at the value area low for the current week. We reached the 1 hour FEG, and I could see this getting validated to trade towards the new wick opening gap. At this point, that's what I was looking at. This gap technically did hold initially. It held pretty well, right? It held, but then I was like, So you could interpret this as, okay, we traded well past it and then kind of held it. So you could see it as like, yeah, this is not going to hold. This was pretty conflicting for me. But at first, I took a trade off of the 618. So if you look at a fib level from the New York open high to the low, right? So we just put it here at noon. There we go. We actually wick that 618 damn near perfectly right here, right? We wick that. We're also above freaking, what's it called? New York VWAP. Right above New York VWAP. And we're inside a low volume node. Let me see if I can actually find it. I'm pretty sure I have a picture of it. Here we go. So, clearly, low volume node. Very clear. Low volume node, aggressive selling, right above New York VWAP, 618. We see fail buying twice. Bam, bam. Cool. Awesome. We also get, not really a CBD divergence, but clearly failed buying. And I saw that, and then I think I saw a tick chart break. I'm pretty sure. But it was a late entry on the tick chart entry. So let me see. I think I actually have it here. Let me pull it up really quick. Yeah. So this was my entry. You can see it's on the formation of the next candle. So this break right here, if you see, follow my mouse, that break is the one I should have entered off of to get a better entry. And I just failed to do so because we found some support there and we slowly broke through it. You kind of want to see a more aggressive break. That's another thing that I'll like learn from experience, I guess, is are we getting an aggressive break or are we like slowly breaking through it, right? You want to see an aggressive break. But yeah, this started looking good for a little bit, right? And I was targeting, I think, a low of day, a little bit more than that. I think I was targeting the wick, right? Started looking good. Yeah, I was targeting the wick inside the end walk, so very conservative target at first. Could I have gone break even here? Probably, yeah. It's also the fact that it's a 10 a.m. open candle, so you could think of this as like, okay, if the first 5-minute candle is bearish, then I'd expect that to be the wick and then trade higher. So yeah, and then this just ended up fully stopping me out. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So that's the first stop. And then the next trade was, let me see, a long, actually. Right here. So this long, go to the chart, right? So what happened on the chart there? For this first short, I was pretty convinced of how it looked, mostly because it was triple confluence, right? Fib level, right above VWAP, low volume node. So I failed buying, and we broke back below near VWAP. So yeah, pretty strong there. So it had all my confluences, had a tick chart break, and on top of that, we had an SMT with a 50-minute gap to where NQ, so obviously right now it doesn't look like it, but this initially did not get traded to. On ES, it did. So there's a tiny SMT there. You see how this candle has a high, and here it's a higher high on ES, and then on NQ, high, lower high, SMT, right off the bat. So internal SMT, SMT at the F for value gap. So it looked really good. It looked really good. Not gonna lie. I am completely fine with this loss. I am completely fine with it. Because I feel like this, for me to go break even, is if we break that initial low. We even get this inversion here. So it's like, it's checking everything off, bro. And we just got stopped out immediately on the next candle. So this actually happened while I was in the bathroom, which was funny to me. But yeah. And then we end up doing this. So we end up invalidating that 50-minute gap, which you could see the spoiler alert. And then okay, I was like, all right. So this tells me we're actually, you know, holding this 1 hour gap. This was enough of a retrace into that new wick opening gap. We did not want to take this wick. We're probably gonna trade higher, and this is where a conflicting bias comes into play, and you have to see which side is playing out. To me, here it looked like it was good to play out for longs. Okay, so what happens next? We have this 15-minute. Okay, all right. What do we do here? We trade into it, but what happens? What happens right before we trade into it? We wick overnight VWAP. We wick it. Okay, it's not like we broke it and then retraced. We wick it. Okay, so plain and simple. You don't have to be a scientist to realize this. And then on top of that, we get an SMT here. These are two things that I did not realize when I was looking for my longs. Okay, so my longs played out off of pretty much the 0.5. So you'll see it here on the video, right? So this was, let me see, there we go, 0.5 tap, there we go. So there's a 0.5 tap near a VWAP tap, and you see us hold it, right? So you see us hold it, and then I kind of waited for a retrace because I see a reaction at VWAP on the tick chart, and I'm waiting, and then we get a break, okay? So let me see, okay, yeah, there. So we're waiting for a break of these highs, right? Waiting. Okay, got a break, enter. Yeah, plain and simple. Got our entry there. So yeah, that was our trade, and I decided to put my stop at the wick because I'm like, if this plays out, it's gonna play out with strength. It's gonna shoot up. But obviously, this trade idea is immediately validated by the fact that we held overnight VWAP. This ended up getting stopped out insane, like on that same next candle. Okay. And then I realized, oh wait, we held overnight VWAP and we put an SMT at New York Open High. Yeah, this is gonna melt. I immediately went, okay, my initial bias was in fact correct, and I pretty much went back to my original trade idea, which was look for shorts towards that new week opening gap for a full, complete fill, I guess you could call it that, of the a complete fill of the new week opening gap. So basically, trade towards this wick, okay? Maybe even the full gap itself, which ended up actually being my final target. Spoiler alert. But yeah, 2 losses now, and I'll actually show you that I did end up getting stopped out. I did not get a chance to go break even. I'm pretty sure I got stopped out pretty quick. So yeah, we actually got a tick chart break. That's why I marked it out. Yeah, got stopped out there, and I was locked in. I was on the Discord call with my friends, and I was just muted this entire time. I was just locked in. Even through the last trade, I was still locked the frick in, bro. But yeah, at this point, I'm watching the VWAP on Bookmap. Watching the low volume node we had marked out because at first it looked like we disrespected it and then kind of failed immediately. We had a passive seller defend up there. So yeah. And then that's when I started looking for shorts. And this is where I enter. Cool. So this is where I enter. We've already seen a tick chart break. We're seeing us, kind of fail to sustain above VWAP. got below it, tried to get back above it, immediately fail, and then kind of stall out right at that VWAP. So, how does that translate into what I was seeing? So, passive seller defending, right? And I think I can actually find it. I might not be able to see it though. Yeah, so there was a passive seller up here. I'm pretty sure this was a passive seller. It looked like fell buying, fell buying, fell buying, and it looked like it wanted to push higher, and then it started failing, and we got back inside the low volume node and didn't get any reaction. Saw a little bit of reaction, but then we held the up once, twice, and then broke it, retested it, broke through it again. So that's kind of what it looked like on the order flow on Bookmap, right? So passive started defender right above the low volume node, 50-minute IFVG. So this was a 50-minute IFVG. It just got disrespected immediately because you see we invalidated first and then the next three candles disrespected. So that gets completely invalidated. Same thing on ES, right? It did not hold as a support. And then the low volume that I had marked out. Okay. Overnight VWAP got respected. That's a fact. You can clearly see it. And we couldn't even break New York Open High. We even put an SMT at New York Open High with the yes. We had a break and retest of VWAP, held it on tick chart multiple times on the retest, and then I was just targeting new week opening gap. So this was a pretty freaking solid trade idea, right? So I remember my stop was 423. My entry was 375 question mark. I'm pretty sure. Not entirely sure. We'll see. I think this was my trade. I'm pretty sure this was my trade. We can try to find the video. There we go. Entry at 325, 375 and a tick. 25, 375 and a tick. And stop at 25. Ooh, hey, there's my knees. But yeah, 25, 423. That was my stop. And here we go. My stop there you'll see it get put in place here. There we go. 25, 423. That was my initial stop. A little bit less than $300. The risk that I'm using for this trades. Yeah, I might stop there. Kind of at the structure point on the tech chart. Could have had the 5-minute candle. Sure. I wanted to play it on the safer side. This is what made sense to me. That's where I saw the last bit of failed buying. So I did not want to see that area get revisited. So this took a while, but it ended up playing out pretty well. That's where I have my stop, right? Have entry. So it looks pretty solid. First 5-minute candle that prints while we're in the trade. And I was initially targeting that new week opening gap wick. And I thought to myself, this helps me recover the 2 losses and puts me in a very small profit. And I thought to myself, we can probably squeeze this. So I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to try. I adjusted my stop as we were showing good momentum. I adjusted to the 5-minute wick before that candle that printed. So it's still above VWAP. So if we retest that, I'm chilling. And I was just willing to do that. I thought to myself, okay, if I extend my TP, I'm just going to mark out, and you'll see the markings here on the video. I'll mark out the specific points in price where I have my targets. So that first wick, right? That first wick. And I think I marked out the 0.2. And then I can't quite remember. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I marked out the 0.2. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, I marked out the IB low. Because at this point, the IB low had set. Another thing is when we didn't break the high up here, the New York high, that means our IB low set second on NQ. And we're immediately failing. So it's like, yeah, we're not going to break this. That's another thing that I thought to myself. I'm like, oh, wait, this means this. But if you realize that quickly, you would have caught a banger trade because you could have caught it up there simply based on the statistical confluence. IB low is going to break first. And it would have banged because if you would have caught like the start of the move. And this just ended up melting. But yeah, I extended my TP all the way to. So My trade was here, and I extended my TP all the way till the end of the gap for a 3R. So it was a pretty freaking banger trade. All right, pretty freaking banger trade. All right, got in on the formation of this candle. Cool, and we already know this ended up hitting final TP. And it's funny how the first, and I want to show you guys this. The one 5-minute candle that hit my first target ended up hitting all my targets, which I just think is the funniest thing. Um, this stop. Let me see if this. Okay, there we go. So yeah, we see that, and then we kind of. I think we started accelerating. Yeah. So yeah, we see us accelerate as we break these. Boop. And you even see us gap down on the tick chart. We hit our first target, immediately hit our second target. Like this happened very quick. And you can see me. I have my hand on the trigger, right? I'm hand on the trigger. Are we gonna break this? Are we gonna break this? Are we gonna, like, immediately reverse? I have my hand on the trigger, or for a market buyer 3 to get out of my position because I'm gonna sell, right? Thinking about taking partials, and then that's when I adjust my stop. I'm pretty sure it's when I hit the 0.1 that I adjust my stop. I'm pretty sure it comes in. Yep, there we go. So I adjust my stop, $30 in profit. All right, it's a risk-free trade, and I'm thinking. Okay, gotta be patient. And then this is where it gets interesting. We get really close to our target, and this is what I decide to do. I decide to move my target. Like, look how close we are. Look at the low of the candle. The low of the candle is 25 to 31. We are 3 points, or 2 points and 3 ticks away. Nearly 3 points away from our target. And I just simply put my stop to where I'd be at break even for the day. And I just wait it out. And this is so funny because take a look at what happens. I do that, and immediately, like, I start seeing rejection right before my target gets hit. And I'm like, oh, obviously, seeing it like this, you're like, yeah, but the candle still hasn't even closed. Like I said earlier, the same 5-minute candle that took the first target took the last target, which was the full fill of that new week opening gap. And I was just looking at the tick chart. Like, okay, I have my stop based on structure on the tick chart. It's based on me being break even, so just watching the tick chart, being patient, thinking about closing partials, and this should hit. Yeah, there we go. That's when I hit my target, and I think I might actually show you guys the reaction I had, because I just think it's funny, and so I'll really quick show you the reaction I had to when that happened. So let me see if I can find it. And it happened. There we go. So here's my reaction to this happening. Banger! Fucking banger! What you know about that? I'm just playing. Holy shit. Valid reaction. I mean, we came back from $600 day loss to a $200 winning day. Like, if it's a funded, that goes from a losing day to a calendar winning day, so you can secure a payout with that type of day. Isn't that crazy? And it's also like a 3 hour trade. Like it was an insane recovery. I'll admit that it was an insane recovery. But anyways, that pretty much wraps it up. I'll say to summarize, first trade, I am completely fine with that loss. Good loss. Why? It followed momentum, followed my model, had my confluence, my entry confluences, and had my confirmations, entry confirmation. So yeah, completely fine with that trade. The second trade though, that long, bit iffy, because unknowingly it was a conflicting direction at that point. It was a conflicting direction because it looks like we're trying to head higher, but we're also holding over that VWAP. So it's just gotta be more self-aware in those types of situations. So yeah. Anyways, that's pretty much it. And then the third trade, just a banger trade. I think it was just you just kind of had to follow the momentum. This was a momentum type of day, and if you were able to join in on any move, I'm pretty sure you hit TP. But first trade, great. Second trade, hey. Third trade, great. So yeah, we'll learn from this, and anything that we can do better from today, we'll try our best to do better. So hopefully tomorrow I'll catch y'all with a one and done banger, and we'll see what happens. All right, y'all. Peace.